Okay, Susan Sarandon, somebody who is fighting for our future. Why does she do that? Like, what kind of cognitive function does that? Or, like, is she defying against stereotypes? Let's see. Okay, I will admit this one was just an attempt to find a type to win because last time somebody told me, like, I looked like someone. It was Holly and Felix typed her as, like, an almost type twin, so I was hoping maybe Susan Sarandon could be a type twin, but unfortunately not. Come on, guys, let's find me one. Anyway, Susan Sarandon, it was really lovely typing her. Let's just have a deep dive on her cognitive functions, MBTI function stack, and objective personality type. So yes, looking her, I thought like she could be an ESFP, allegedly tribe above self, and so on. And she also kind of reminds me of some EJs, to be honest. So I was quite in between, and I had to type her twice. Let's see. So, what's my opening move? If we are talking about typing someone, I prefer starting with big coins, like where is the biggest difference? And for objective personality system, that would be observer or decider, self versus tribe or control versus chaos. Let's see if we can have a glimpse here of something, because this one is with Gina Davis, and she was typed in ENTJ, and my stack play last, sleep, consume last. So I thought like this could be a good comparison. Let's see.
But what was that when you guys first read the script? What was it that?
Well, I never heard what you thought of.
There were a lot of questions I had about things, but I just thought the opportunity to, you never get to be in a film with another woman, hardly ever, and you never get to be friends with the woman. If you are in a film with another woman, then you automatically are competitive and hate each other for whatever reason. She's young, you're old, anything they can figure out. So to even get a shot to do a movie with another woman was a big deal. Ridley's an amazing director, but also it just seemed like it would be fun to be outlaws. I mean, I wasn't taking it super seriously. There were a lot of things that I was questioning about how things. I didn't want to make a revenge movie. I said, I'm not interested in that. What to me seems different is that she questions, she wants to understand why men would do this, why. And so we kind of imposed that on it and added some dialogue and stuff because I just said I'm just not interested in being Schwarzenegger or
Right.
But mostly it was a chance to work with Gina, a chance to work with Ridley, taking the summer off with the kids and
Right, your
having
kids came.
fun.
That
Yeah,
was
they were
fun.
there
Yeah.
and just having fun. It motivates me a lot and I thought it would be fun, but I definitely didn't think we were going to get that much reaction, good and
Oh,
bad.
no. Nobody did. No.
Opportunity talk. So fun to be outlaws. And this is pointing me to a gatherer, maybe. And you never get to be friends with another woman in a movie. This is like ST spectrum, so that's what I'm tracking. So I know that this is very rarely happening. So that's what it tells me, that she's looking at ST spectrum, the objective reality spectrum. And I think that it is quite early to talk about it, but friends above ego, that's what I see. So when she was talking about how it is like, I just want to work with my friend and I do not want to push this narrative of like women cannot be friends, they are supposed to hate each other or whatever. Like this is a rare opportunity for that. So friends above ego, I believe. And yes, we see that she's bringing other people into the conversation a lot, and that makes me lean more on play side of the coin. And we see all the sensory report, and she's having fun as well. So sensory report, like this happened, that happened to me, whatever, like from her perspective, that is telling me, is this SF consume, maybe. And in the beginning, when like they were asked the question, Gina just deflects it to her, and she has no problem sharing how, like, what she was thinking and so on. So she has no lag time of knowing what, like, her point of view. So that's why I'm leaning more on self about tribe. So opposite of my bias, unfortunately. And yes, there was also this part where she was saying like wants to understand why men would do this and so on. So That can be like intuition or thinking. So NT as well might be a weakness, because that's what we do with our weaknesses. We try to do them. We want to do them. That's why I'm leaning more on NT as a weakness. Let's try to find more. This was a far longer video, so I will have some clips from this one.
You were drawn more to that flawed character. Wondering if you could talk about that in the context of this story and this mom.
Well, I think everybody, even when you have a sister Helen who seems so heroic, that, it's just not interesting playing somebody who's perfect. I love women. I love all the different kind of moms that I've played, and they're all flawed. Who isn't flawed? And all so different. And I think what's interesting is to find people that seem ordinary, and then when you really get to know them, they do extraordinary things. And in this woman's life, just a tiny bit of a change is really a lot. And I love doing love stories. Every film that I've ever done has, to me, always been some kind of a love story, because I just find it's the most courageous thing you can possibly do is to connect with another person, make yourself vulnerable to them, to try in some way to be intimate. I don't even mean sexually, but just vulnerable to another human being. And so she just is so traumatized when she spent her entire life nurturing her husband and being there for her husband, and really loves her husband, really loves doing for her husband. And then that's taken away, and she has to try to figure out where to put all this nurturing energy. And anybody that comes within her path kind of gets it. If they're needy, she just does it. And I don't mind her being inappropriate that way. I mean, I wish everybody was inappropriate and an overabundance of kindness, but it can be quite grating when you're her kid.
Yeah.
And especially with cell phones, which make you accessible all the time.
Okay, this would be a good opening move. So, it is not interesting playing somebody who's perfect. We are not perfect and we know it. Who isn't flawed? That's what she said. There's also like anybody comes in her path, like that's how she wanted to say it, like pathways. And this language also belongs to an observer. So I'm pretty sure that she's an observer. And she can't stop. That's what I see. She is an extrovert, most probably, because she's trailing up while talking. And the more she talks, the more she talks. What else? I love doing love stories. Is this feeling about thinking? Or is she okay, like sharing values, feelings without being weird? So that might be FE as well. FE. That was a bit hard for me to see. And then there was like every film I have done, to me, always is a love story. The meaning to me, specifically to me. So that is pointing me to NF introverted. Is this NF sleep, maybe? And then she's talking about all the nurturing with the character. Why is she playing that character? Because she's also very nurturing. We also need to think about that. And then she was talking about cell phones, and which makes it accessible all the time. Why is that, And she was kind of complaining about it, like, oh, cell phones, like I have to be reachable all the time. Like that kind of complaining energy. It means that because she has to be available for other people, she has to play, she has to expand the energy. That's what I see. So play above sleep. That's for sure right now. And then there was this trying to figure out stuff again. And I think it is NT as a weakness for her. Okay, for this one, let's see if we can make sure about her functions. And consume versus balanced also is, it can be easier to see here.
Oh, that was the other thing. This was so stupid. I don't know what was wrong with me, but all I was wearing was a pair of white underpants and a t-shirt. I don't know how many movies I did without a bra, but for some reason that was very in at the moment not to have a bra on. So I had on a t-shirt and a pair of underpants, very tan, and he says to me, no, you've got to change those pants. They're too on the nose. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, those, and it turned into some kind of a power struggle or something. And we got into a little bit of a fight, and it was already a difficult scene. And I remember just taking them off and throwing them at him and storming off and thinking, what did you just do? Are you so stupid walking bare ass off this set? What is wrong with you? And I don't remember if we got another pair of underpants. I guess we did, but I mean, it was just the culmination of like a very awkward scene and being in this hammock in a weird way and everything else. But it was ultimately a fun job. And he, it didn't end up, everybody was giving him a hard time. And so we finally had what we did was, Paul really wanted to be an actor, so we had a talent show where he could do a stand-up routine and get it all out. And we all had little things that we did. Vittorio Gassman read a poem and then jumped and rolled over like 5 guys, shoulder to shoulder on the ground. I mean, it was just insane.
Okay, first thing, what we can say is observer and EP for sure right now, because why does she argue with the director? What was the reason? She hates control. She's triggered by control. That's why it was turning into a power struggle, when we are triggered, that's what happens. So, EP, some sort of EP. And then she is quickly switching and trying to see stuff from the director's side, because everybody was giving him a hard time. So they did something that he would enjoy. So really quick switch between self and tribe. So we are also seeing double deciding. This is an observer and EP. So she throws her underpants at him without thinking about consequences. Who does that? That feels like intuition as a weakness. So her brain prefers sensory above intuition. That's what I can say. And also the realizations come later. Right after that, she's like, oh, this was so stupid. Yes, but a little bit later. Realizations come later. I first expand the energy, then I see, okay, I shouldn't have done that, Yes, extrovert. Yes, and then she was also saying something like, for some reason, I cannot give you the reasons, but it was very in at the moment. That is telling me, okay, she's aware of values, she's aware of the physical world, she's aware of what was valued in the physical world, so trans, what was in, and so on, and then can't give you a reason. That is telling me feeling above thinking. And then we see she is taking us along. She gives us all the sensory. That's what I'm leaning more on consume side, consume above plus, but she also can tell a story. She's not like I can't talk or whatever, so doesn't feel like a blast last. And I also see extrovert. That's why I think like info is balanced. Consume and blast are balanced. So she is probably a sleep blast. Then I wanted to show you a few clips regarding her social type, because her social was very interesting for me. I first saw her type as her social type. So that's why I think it makes sense to spend a little bit of time to figure out her social.
I kind of fell into the business. It wasn't that I ever wanted to be an actor. I didn't study acting. With Joe, I just kind of fell into it. And I thought, well, this is funny. And then I got another job, and I was like, oh, that's really funny. I can pay off my school debt. And I don't think you could get away with it that way anymore. I mean, I think it's such an industry. I think that you used to have studio heads who were personalities who liked making film. They didn't have a banker's head. The corporate takeover of everything has changed everything. But definitely in the business, you have bankers making decisions. They cast people according to how many followers they have, all of this kind of stuff that's going on now.
Susan Sarandon, what brings you to D.C. today?
Well, I'm here to support the Palestinian people and to ask for a permanent ceasefire and to keep the pressure on our representatives. I want to thank South Africa for what they've done to actually put everything in a document and to shame the rest of the world. And I'm just mostly here to keep the pressure on.
We don't have as much money as APAC, but we have the people. And so what we have to do is keep making our feelings known and to make sure that people don't forget, aren't distracted. And so I'm very happy that I could be here.
Okay. As you can see, what I'm leaning for is a social core. She has no ambition. This is a terrible story for everyone who's in drama school, so very aware of the tribe. And things happened to her by accident. She fell into acting. This happens to number 4s more than anybody else, leaf in the wind. And then you see that she's working on the craft. She is respecting it, but not also taking it so seriously. And then in the second clip, what we see is she's here to support people. She's always there to support people, and she's putting the pressure above. So I believe this is a social 4. At first, I was thinking, like, is this social 3 and so on, but then I started to see like friends everywhere. She has ego lost, that I can tell. And yes, I just wanted to talk about this unpopular opinion. I know I'm not the only one seeing this, and I know I'm not the first one seeing these patterns. But from now on, please consume at your own risk, because this has nothing to do with objective personality. So, I was typing her both types, ESFJ, a playblast ESFJ, and a sleepless ESFP. I was like, consume playblast or playblast sleep. This was like really hard for me to see. I just wanted to say some people are more the archetype that they play, or more the social type rather than the objective personality type. That's what I see. Now let's come to type reveal. So the type I got for her is an ESFP, a double feminine SEFI, consume playblast, sleepless, number 4. If you ask me, this is a great type, but unfortunately not a type to be of mine. It was lovely typing her. So next time I will be typing Richard Gere. If you're interested in, see you there. Hello my friend, I'm looking for people like me. If you enjoy the content I put out there, please do like and subscribe and be in this community. I am trying to build a community for people like me, for people who need this place where they can be exactly as they are, and kind of an incubator for self-actualization. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I have recently started a project called Little Tail. I'm hoping to see you there. I'm hoping to have our group sessions where we explore objective personality coins in a playful way. This is how we're going to be using our play to get to our sleep. And we will have the sense of community, a community where we are welcomed. We don't have to deal with all the negative stereotyping and so on. So if you're interested in a community, a supportive, collaborative community like that, please consider joining me in social media, wherever you're watching this. Please come as you are, you're always going to be welcomed here. I also wanted to mention that I started typing people, so if you like my subjective opinion or your type, you can reach out to me on social media. And also I have this program. If you have a small group of people where you would like to explore team building activities, I would definitely suggest trying out my new program, Story Circle Sessions. So that might be really something that everybody would enjoy and grow together and have amazingly good bonds together. Take care.